Hello folks, welcome to CodeCrucks. In this video, we will discuss the example of minimization of DFA. To understand this problem, I recommend you to go through the previous video in which we have explained the algorithm on finding equivalence or the distinguishable states. That concept we are going to use into this video. The link of that video is given in the description box. Consider this is the DFA and we wish to minimize this DFA. The transition table is given here. Let us start with partition P0 or the zero equivalent state. So as we know from the previous video, the zero equivalent states are, or the P0 partition is a partition of original states such that we will keep all the non-final states into one group and all the final states into another group. So our partition P0 would be Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3 in one group and Q4 in another group. Now Q4 contains only one state, so we don't have to do anything on that. But if there are multiple states, they might be equivalent or redundant. So now we are going to perform test on this first set, that is Q0, Q1, Q2 and Q3. So we will compute P1, which is called finding one equivalent states from this set. So we will find out delta transitions on all the input alphabets for all the given states Q0, Q1, Q2 and Q3 in the first set. Q0A leads to Q1 and Q0B leads to Q2. Similarly, we will find out it for state Q1, state Q2 and state Q3. As we can see, state Q0, Q1 and Q2 generates the states which are in first set itself. But for Q3, on input A, it goes to first state and on input B, it goes to the second state, that is Q4. So the state Q0, Q1 and Q2 are not distinguishable because they goes to the same set, but Q3 is distinguishable from them. So in P1, we have to partition that red set into two other sub partitions. So P1 would be Q0, Q1, Q2. Q3 is different or it's a distinguishable and Q4 is already distinguishable. Now we have to repeat this process on Q0, Q1, Q2 because Q3 is single state, Q4 is also single state. So there is no chance of minimization. But in this Q0, Q1, Q2, some states might be identical or redundant. So now we will go to compute P2 or the two equivalent of these states. So P1 is Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3 in another set, Q4 is in another set. Now we will compute two equivalent of Q0, Q1, Q2. So again we will read A and B from Q0, same way A and B from Q1 and A and B from Q2. As we can see, Q0 and Q2 generates the output which falls in the first set of states, that is Q0, Q1, Q2 only, and that's why they are not distinguishable. But state Q1 generates the output which belongs to two different states in the previous partition, and hence Q1 is distinguishable from Q0 and Q2. So we will divide the set of states Q0, Q1, Q2 into two different states or two different sets, that is Q0, Q2, which are identical or which are, we can say, two equivalent states, and Q1 we will put it into the different set. So this is P2. Now we have to check whether Q0 and Q2 are same or not, and for that we have to compute P3 or the three equivalent of this state. So again we will read all the input alphabets from both the sets Q0, both the states Q0 and Q1. And as we can see, both leads to the same set of states. So Q0 and Q2 are not distinguishable. So splitting of Q0, Q2 is not possible, and we will say that they are identical. So P3 is same as P2. So our algorithm will hold here. We have to consider Q0, Q2 as a same state, as a single state, or we can rename it and we can draw the DFA for that. So right now no change in P2 and P3. So we will stop and we will draw the state transition diagram for that. As we can see that Q0, Q2 we have combined into state A. So A represents Q0, Q2. So all the transitions which are going to Q0, Q2 will now go to A, and all the transitions which were coming out from Q0 and Q2 will now come out from set A in the minimized DFA, and this would be the equivalent transition table for given DFA. Thank you. That's it for today, folks. See you in next video. If you think this video was useful to you, then please like, comment and share. Don't forget to subscribe the channel CodeCrucks. Press the bell icon for the notification of latest videos. Stay connected, stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.